Welcome to this Tutor to You Criminology video for WJEC Level 3 Criminology, looking at Unit 2 Criminological Theories. In this video we're going to be focusing on informal and formal sanctions against deviance. In order to understand how informal and formal sanctions against deviance work, we need to understand how people learn social norms and values in the first place. Individuals learn social norms and values through the process of socialization. And this is performed by social institutions, for example, the family, education, religion, and media. From an early age, individuals are taught what is expected of them in wider society by their families, by schools, and by religious organisations. People are rewarded for positive behaviours, that is, when they conform to social norms and values, and this reinforces how we should act in certain social contexts. However, when we deviate from social norms and values, we are punished, what we refer to as sanctions. These sanctions can be either informal or formal, and in this video we're going to examine different forms of informal and formal sanctions that are put in place when people deviate from society's norms and values. Informal sanctions are usually administered by individual members of society when we undertake deviant behaviour. This includes our family, friends, teachers, and others we come into regular contact with. This could include being ignored or shamed. It can involve being told off. It could involve being labelled as a troublemaker, which in turn has other consequences on our behaviour. We may also be grounded, have privileges removed, or have limitations placed on our access to resources. In other words, have allowances or pocket money stopped. With our friends, it could mean being isolated from the group or being ridiculed. Other social institutions could impose informal sanctions. These are not based upon the law, but instead the disapproval of an individual's actions. For example, education may limit a student's time through detentions or giving them additional work. They may remove house points, what we call demerits, or place them in isolation. Additionally, religious organisations might disapprove of an individual's behaviour and limit their access to services. For example, in the Catholic Church, people who were divorced were unable to remarry in a church. This is an informal sanction as it's not against the law, but it is subject to disapproval under religious doctrines. Formal sanctions are given for deviance that goes against the law, and these are mostly distributed in England and Wales by the criminal justice system, either through the police, for example cautions and fixed penalty notices, or through magistrates and crown courts. As we've discussed in a previous video in this series, formal sanctions against those breaking the law include court and non-court sanctions. Non-court sanctions include cautions, conditional cautions, and fixed penalty notices, whilst court-ordered sanctions include custodial sentencing, fines, discharge, and community sentences. Some examples of typical formal sanctions are listed on the screen here. Now, these are the average custodial sentence for offenders who have been found guilty of an offence in England and Wales. Murder carries a sanction of life imprisonment. On average, people are jailed for 4 to 6 years for sexual offences, 3 to 4 years for robbery, 1 to 2 years for violence against the person. Fraud offences on average are 2-year sentences, with criminal damage and arson averaging 2 to 3 years. Firearms offences carry minimum sentences of 5 years for people over the age of 18 and 3 years under the age of 18, while possession of an offensive weapon carries a minimum of 6 months or 4 months for under 18s. And Class A drug trafficking carries a mandatory minimum of 7 years if an offender is found guilty of the offence for a third time. These are just some of the formal sanctions that people may face for deviant behaviours, and the list of sanctions here is non-exhaustive. That concludes this Tutor to You Criminology video looking at informal and formal sanctions against deviance. Thanks for watching.